Folks, I want to ask you an important question I've been thinking about for 36 years of my existence. What does it mean to be Canadian? Ask for your fellow Canadians. We all say the same thing. We're kind, right? We're friendly. We have shared values. We're inclusive. We're open-minded. We have a strong sense of community here in Canada. But what do you see when you walk around? I know what people say, but what do their behaviors show? Depression? Going through the roof. Loneliness, by definition, is now an epidemic. What community are we talking about? In fact, people are feeling more isolated than ever before, more disconnected than they've ever been, not just to themselves, but to the people around them. So the question is, what happened to Canada? And not just Canada, around the world, this is a phenomenon. But the real thing we need to understand is, how do we go back to some sort of sense of community, something that makes us feel human again? I want to share a solution, a pretty darn good solution of how we can do that. And it starts with our farmers. Before we go forward, we need to understand where we as a species have come from. Where did community come from? And I'll tell you, it came from millions and millions of years ago when we lived in tribes, right? Our tribes, they were very interpersonal. We were really close to the folks in our tribes. We had to have verbal communication. We have to build trust and cooperation because our tribes could only exist up to 150 people. That's a lot of people to remember those kind of relationships. I can't even remember that many names, right? But what happens when you start going above 150 people? Those tribes start to collapse. Conflict arises, you don't have trust, you don't know who this new person is. They can't exist. Tribes were the original community. But we don't live in a community of 150 people anymore. We live in a global network of 8 billion people. How's that possible? What did we do? How do we change that? The answer is simple. We're smart. We created systems. We created beautiful, intellectual, amazing systems that allowed for mass cooperation. And to understand why we are where we are today, let's look at the big four that we, Homo sapiens, invented. Number one, my tribe, man, we just grew up a lot of potatoes. We got 100 pounds of potatoes. But man, like how many potatoes can you eat? But the tribe on the other side of the river, they got some carrots. Big, juicy, girthy carrots. I want some carrots. Do you guys want to trade? For sure. I mean, farming and trade was the first system that we created to start building bridges between our tribes. There was a benefit of working with each other. We got to share. We weren't enemies anymore, you were partners. That started the foundation of community. System number two, you're walking down the woods, there's another tribesman. You don't know this tribesman. You don't know him. They're untrustworthy. In fact, if you're interacting with people outside your tribe, you're probably going to die. So you're getting ready for battle. Who is this guy? You want a piece of me? Wait a minute. Is that a cross I see? Wait, are you Christian? Man, I'm Christian. Oh my God, you're not a stranger. You're my brother. Cooperation. Religion was that second system that we devised. It allowed for mass cooperations. It taught us how to be civil to one another, how to have rituals, and how to go beyond our emotional instincts to be quite savage. And that concept really exploded. But then eventually, our Homo sapiens, we started expanding across large swaths of land. Community got harder to build. So what did we invent? System number three, government. We created a structure. We actually organize society into structures. We use things like rights, responsibilities, laws in order to create some sense of law and order, and more importantly, safety. Which takes me to my fourth system, the most powerful system, capitalism. Taboo word nowadays, but is it taboo? What did capitalism do for human society? Because before, we were slaughtering each other in wars. World War I, World War II, let's talk about the violence. But capitalism came, we're economic partners. Wars, significantly decreased. The amount of deaths decreased from wars. In fact, we're living, despite what it feels like, we're living in the most peaceful time ever to be alive. We have lifted millions of people out of poverty. We have eradicated diseases that were plaguing humans for such a long time because we incentivized innovation. Today is the best time ever to be alive on a global scale. What's happened to the individual? Loneliness, solitude, isolation. People don't know their neighbors anymore. We're living in concrete jungles. Good luck getting eye contact in the street from anyone. Yes, on a global scale, we've done well, but on an individual scale, we are suffering as people. And why? Look at these systems. Religion, farming, community. Government, an extension of community. Capitalism, no community. No, it's profit over people. People are numbers in this system. Of course, we're more disjointed than we've ever been before because the systems we have devised were not meant for this connection. So what's the solution? Anarchy? Tear everything down? No. Let's do what we've always done. Look at the past. What tools do we have now? And how do we rebuild a system that makes more sense to us? And I have a solution. By helping our local farmers. But guess what? We are losing farmers at a rapid rate. The younger generation, do they want to get into farming? No. Why would you when most farmers have to work 2 full-time jobs on the side just to survive? Best believe it, this is an issue. It's an issue I am really passionate about. And I want to share really quickly, not just the solution of how we can rebuild community, but where does my passion come from? Oh, and it came from the pandemic. I lost my relationship with my community, with my friends, with my family, with my fiance. Everybody that I loved and held dear to me, gone. Canada wasn't my home anymore. I got the heck out, grabbed a backpack. I left for 2 years. And guys, I was dirt poor. I was living off $20 a day. I don't care where you live. You can't survive on $20 a day, but I did. I went out there and I'm like, world, give me your answers. Save me and show me what I need to see. And it showed me a lot. But the 2 things that stuck out the most. Number 1, I wasn't living in resorts. I was lucky to live in a hostel. I had to sleep on the streets a few times. I was living with some of the poorest people in the world. And the funny thing was, the poorer they were, the greater sense of community they had. Think about that. Because in order to survive those dire situations, you have to be able to rely on your neighbor, and your neighbor has to be able to rely on you. That's just how it works. That poverty brought, if you ask me, a greater quality of life because you had a connection with your neighbors. That really took me back. The second thing that took me back was, what are these folks eating? And they're not eating processed goods. They're not eating packaged goods. They're not eating foreign goods. They can't afford that. That stuff is too expensive in these countries. They're eating farmers' goods, local goods. That's the only thing they can afford, is going by to their local farmer and picking up the potatoes and the carrots. But you know what's funny about that? They're eating better than most Canadians that I know. That the poorest people in the world have a greater sense of community, and they're eating more nutritionally dense food than my fellow Canadians. That's so sad. That's incredibly sad. I need to change that. I don't want to sit here. I know what's going on, but what can we do to fix this? What can I do to make the country that I love so much a country that is actually pretty amazing, that people can't see how amazing it is? How can we bring this back together? I made it my mission, not just to bring back community, but to make local farming matter again. I used my skills, I used my marketing, my community building skills, I used my TikToks and Instagrams and all that stuff, and I hosted affordable farmer markets. Yeah. Where I invited farmers all over the Lower Mainland, come, sell your produce, and I'll do the marketing for you. I will bring the people. I will bring thousands of people for you. And guess what? Especially because I was poor for so long, I don't need that money. I'll do it all for free. And folks, they came out. I only asked them, please, whatever you sell, Just make it more affordable than the local grocery store. I know how hard that is, but just do this for me once. And guess what I saw? The people came out. The first one, people lined up, 1,500 people in the rain to meet farmers for the first time. A lot of these people have never seen a farmer. In fact, children in Canada growing up thinks apples grow in grocery stores. Not from this old dude in the farmer's market. People were excited to meet farmers for the first time. And my goodness, the farmers were excited to meet consumers for the first time because they sell everything to distributors. I've never seen that sense of excitement before. Guess what I felt for the first time in Canada since 10 and a half years? Community. It was beautiful. We need to bring our farmers back to life if we have any chance of going back to something more human. And folks, I got 3 ways we can do that. Number 1, go to the grocery stores. Feed your families. But just look at where your food is coming from, right? Look at the label. What country is it coming from? Start becoming self-aware. After a few weeks, you're just going to be like, wow, nothing is coming from Canada. That's going to be a seed that we can harvest a little bit later. Number 2. People do not respect farmers. Respect is not something you say, it's something that you show. And you can't respect farmers because you don't know how hard it is to grow produce. We do not understand the monumental effort that takes to feed an entire population. In fact, most people think farmers are greedy because they're charging higher prices. You can't convince the public of how hard farming is, but we can teach you in a different way. Grow your own food. Plant some herbs in your kitchen. I'm not asking you to start a farm, but grow your own food. I'm asking you to maybe plant some potatoes in your backyard. I'm asking you to learn what it's like to grow food and see what that tastes like, and that'll give you a greater sense of connection to your local farmer. And last but not least, try to support government policies that allow farmers to do what they need to do. Farming is failing, folks, but you do these 3 things. Check your labels, start growing a little bit of food, and start voting for government policies that free the farmers. It will start something big. Is that doable? Is this something you folks can do? Do you promise? Nice. I'm going to hold you to it. Folks, these changes aren't going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. But if we help farmers become successful again, guess what that means? You're going to have access to fresh local produce. You have access to fresh local produce. You're eating well. Who else is eating well? Your family. You're out of a state of survival. Now you're going to start making eye contact. Hey, neighbors, come on over. Let's hang out. Community starts. Folks, if we help farmers thrive, we are going to go back to that system that makes us feel something. Care, compassion. It's the thing that makes us feel human. If we help local farmers survive, we're not just rebuilding the backbone of Canada. We're rebuilding community. Thank you.